Zo, mijn naam is Olivier Guillaumond. Ik ben de directeur van Smile in de Benelux. En ik ga samen met Vincent Schickel hier, de CEO van Prediggo, gaan we dus over een heel concreet case spreken, Furet du Nord. Furet du Nord is een enorm grote boekshop die meer dan miljoenen producten, miljoenen boeken te bieden heeft. En we hebben 1,5 jaar geleden Magento bij Furet du Nord geïmplementeerd samen met Prediggo. So I'm going to do the presentation in English, if it's okay for you, so that Vincent can understand a bit. First of all, thank you so much to be here that late. I'm glad to see that it's much crowded out there, so hopefully it will interest you. We'll do our best. So, of course, the commercial part, I'll be very quick on that. Smile, 20 years of experience. We are the biggest open source integrator in Europe. We are in 10 countries. I'm heading the Benelux from Amsterdam. 26 million euro in 2010, etc. More than 450 people in Smile Group. So it's a big company. And we do basically everything regarding around open source, in terms of product, but also in terms of servicing, from consulting, training, implementation, of course, hosting, maintenance, etc., etc. And everything with open source. So open source only, everything open source. Of course, e-commerce. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. But also CMS, DMS, ERP, BI, CRM, infrastructure, portal, you name it. That's our core business. Actually, Magento is just one of the bubbles that we are implementing all over Europe. But it's a big bubble right now, as you know. How do we make ourselves known on the market? We publish white papers a lot. We have now 15 of them, completely free on our website, on all the domains. So you have one specific on e-commerce, but you have one on DMS, portal, CMS, so whatever you're interested in one particular domain, go to our website, download it in French or in English. It's like 100 pages per book, and it tells you everything you need to know about the market and the tools, the open source product that are relevant on the market. We're not pushing any tool, it's just to give you an understanding of the market in terms of functionalities and tools. And it has been downloaded so far more than 350,000 times, so it's a good document to read. E-commerce, we have a few major customers, of course, e-commerce. Well, we're going to discuss today Furet du Nord, just right here. But of course, we do a lot of Benelux. We're not able to name it, but let's say the top 3 in the world are customers of ours, and a lot of big ones. Design, the biggest design store in Europe, for instance, on the internet. Lal is a big clothes company, European known. Camif is like Office Depot, 100,000 of products, B2B and B2C, etc., etc. Cdiscount.com is kind of bol.com, if you would like. Millions of products, a huge brand on the internet. And as far as Magento is coming, when we arrived in this fair, we were quite amazed because we've seen Magento everywhere, like that big, everywhere. And at our stand, it's just that small. Actually, we are the biggest one in Europe in terms of Magento integration. We're enterprise partner everywhere in 10 countries. We have more than 250 people working on a Magento project, and we built the 5 biggest Magento projects in the world. And we started actually using Magento with Magento. So it appeared in March 2008. And we started in April 2008 with Magento, so we know it very well, and we focus ourselves on complex implementations, not the very simple out-of-the-box Magento implementation. That's not what we are doing. We are implementing complex Magento inside complex architecture or infrastructure. And one funny thing is, the more people out there believe and promote that they are doing Magento, the more business we receive from companies that have been implementing Magento not in the right way. So now a lot of our business is taking over from existing Magento website and rebuild it the right way. All right, Furet du Nord. As I explained you, it's a big bookshop. Actually, it's 12 stores. It's very much comparable to Selexis, if you would like, in the spirit. It's like 12 shops, 70 years of experience, 70 million euro turnover. That's the biggest bookshop, one location in France, I think even in Europe, with 7,000 square meters, very known in France. Well, and the biggest challenge, of course, is 1.5 million products and 1,500 new products each day. which has to be updated in Magento in this case. So what were the challenges when we started the project together with Furet du Nord and Prediggo? Actually, the strategy behind for Furet du Nord was we're going to start on the internet and an e-commerce platform, but it's not a goal in itself. The goal is to increase the traffic in the stores. So it's really a multi-channel strategy which was behind. Not so much, let's say, the e-shop only. It has to be completely integrated into this multi-shop strategy. So really a click and mortar. And very important, the search engine, because Furet du Nord told us from the start 70% of their orders go through the search engine. So it's really important that the search engine perfectly match the expectation in terms of functionalities and how they push their product forward. From a technical side point of view, they already had Titlive as a book database, also very known in the Netherlands and in Belgium. They had their own ERP, was also Titlive, their own CRM, of course Prediggo, so everything has to be integrated with Magento, so quite complex. So it fits the profile in this case for us. And of course, more than 1 million products. And if you know the book environment, it's very specific in terms of requirements. So also functionalities standard out of the box of Magento won't match. So you need to build on top. So we just pick up 6 or 7 key happening during the project that we believe are key success factors to make it happen. To implement the strategy, the multi-store strategy, and improve the traffic in the store, we have implemented together with Furet du Nord a double shopping cart. So you want to buy something, all right, on the same screen as you can see. Well, I'm not sure you can see, but on the same screen, let's see, just right here, you can choose between home delivery or pick up at the store, right? And the graphical part is very important, but you could have said first you choose the delivery mode, right? And then you enter the right page. No, they really wanted to have on the same page at all times both choices. So you can mix it up, you can switch at all times. Why? Because of course you want to make sure that that your customers are pushing toward picking up at the stores, because then they will be in the store buying more books, etc., etc. Of course, and the payment as well. That's key, because if you will pick up at the store and pay online, you don't reach what you want, right? So you want to pick them. You want them to pick books at the store, so they also pay at the store. They really had to go to the store, right? And what's key in this case is that from the web shop you can get access real time to all your voorraad per shop. That's what you do. And the navigation is also specific whether you choose one solution or the other one. So this was really key first functionality for Furet du Nord. The next one, to facilitate for your client to pick it up, you can be delivered at home or what they call relay points. It has been implemented with a Mondial Relay, which has a stand out there. In France, they have 23,000 points that you can pick up from at all times. So it really expands your duration, the period that you can pick your orders from. Yeah, in Holland, it's like comparable to TNT, if you would like. I think there are even more, let's say, relay points than TNT in Netherlands, but very convenient. It's a really added value for your customer. And we built actually this extension connecting Magento to relay point in this case. In terms of pricing, it's also completely different. Whether you be delivered by La Poste in this case, or TNT, UPS, or Chronopost, or whatever, or picking it up at one of the locations of Mondial Relay, the pricing fee will be completely different. So it allows Furet du Nord to drive their margin the way they want to. Payment. Normally, well, I'm sure you know, but when you integrate an e-commerce solution, being Magento or anything else, with a payment-rich solution, you have the choice between being connected or integrated or not integrated. So if you're not integrated, you basically outsource the payment process to your partner, which is the case in 99.99% of the cases, because you completely also outsource the responsibility of it, which is quite convenient when it comes to payment, banking, etc., etc. Well, Furet du Nord chose for the other part, because it was very important for them that the customer feels confident and not that he's somewhere else or she's somewhere else. But of course, it gives additional constraints in terms of data collection, maintenance, etc., etc. So we built together with Furet du Nord this integrated payment module. It was with Paybox for this particular case, but doesn't really matter. And you can pay with credit card, with gift card, and now you can pay with PayPal, loyalty card, etc., etc., etc. But all integrated is just one home, the one home concept behind. Next one, for Furet du Nord, they have B2C customers and B2B customers. B2C customers is quite logical. B2B, it's more for schools, universities, large companies. And in this case, at least in France, but I think it's the same in the Netherlands, there is a specific process to be followed. Like a teacher would like to make an order, but he doesn't have delegation for that, so he needs to get approval from the director of the school, for instance, that also needs to get approval from the state man if he's sponsored by the state in this case. So there are some workflows to be implemented in Magento to be able to follow that order, and that will generate to-do list, etc., etc. So it's also a specific module that we built to handle the B2B processes within the book industry. All right, now we come to the 1.5 million product challenge. There are two types of challenges. The one on the technical side, how do you make sure the search engine works quickly, that indexation works quickly, but also from the business side, how do you manage the result? How do you display the result, in which order? When you look at Titleaf database, there is a level of granularity. That's a given fact. The bookshop might want to go further in terms of differently, in terms of granularity, in terms of categories. And how do you make sure that you get the right merchandising strategy, that you push the right product at the right page at the right time? And how we manage that together with Furet du Nord was to, first of all, not to use the standard Magento search engine, but to use Solar engine. Second, and I will get back into more details for each of those. Second, to implement the concept of virtual category or virtual shelf. Third, is actually to define a specific indicator, business-driven, to manage the way to display results, and to implement Prediggo and connect to Magento. Oh, sorry. So, we started, I mean, it was in 2009, right? Beginning of 2009. At that time, Magento only exists in the community version. No enterprise, no professional, etc., etc. And basically, you had no choice. It was just the standard Magento search. As you know, of course, Magento is based on the Zen framework, PHP Zen framework. So we started, when we looked at this, we said, okay, let's try with Zen Apache search. And we started to index the 1.5 million products. It took us 40 hours the first time. And as we were planning to index every night, big trouble. So then we tried many ways why it was not possible with this standard Zen search framework. So then we tried Solar, which is a fully open source product. That's why we are looking at it. We are a fully open source company. So it's based on Apache Lucent Search, quite famous within the open source search engine. And it builds some additional functionalities on top. And we started to make some tests, of course, to make a prototype. And for the indexation, so I'm not sure whether everybody knows what indexation is. When you look at a search engine, what you want to do, you don't want to make SQL request every time to a database. It will take too long, especially if you have a lot of traffic on your website. So what you want to do, and that's what the search engine does, it indexes the database. So basically, it requests once a day or once a night, for instance, one time, and it takes an extract. And when you make a research, you search on this extract only, so you don't access the database every time. So when we started indexing the 1.5 million product with Solar, then we passed from 40 hours to 20 minutes. So it was good news. Then we say, okay, then we can actually indeed index every night. Let's pursue. Of course, it's simply said it needed some twist, but we quickly ended up with that result. And then we validated together with Furet du Nord this prototype, and we really built the web shop, because it was key. If we were not able to prove this, then we would have chosen for something else, more custom-based or something like this. Of course, no license costs, very interesting. Full text and structured search is possible with Solar. Everything which is already in there within Magento, like auto-completion or back-office search, whatever, can be fully leveraged with Solar. We're not replacing Magento functionalities. We're starting from Magento, and then instead of we redirecting the search to Solar instead of having to the standard search, right? That's what we do. And the nice thing about that is, after having proven that Solar could actually take up to multi-million products, Magento incorporated companies say, hey, we need to do something about this, and they included Solar into their enterprise edition. So it was actually the foundation project for the search engine of the enterprise edition, where you can still choose between standard, Lucene, or Solar. The next concept was the virtual category. Titleaf database didn't provide the right level of granularity for Furet du Nord. I mean, for most of the product of the books, yes, but for some of them, Furet du Nord wanted to go even further. The example was the manga. Like for Titleaf, manga is just manga, for instance, and for Furet du Nord, they want to make some distinction within the manga category with subcategories, etc., etc. But of course, this is very changing every day. As I was explaining, there are more than almost 2,000 books every day coming up. You don't want to do manually, you know, in Magento, the matching between this product and the subcategory is this product. So basically what we did, using Solar Search, is to populate and to fill out those subcategories that we've identified automatically every day with a request, right? So we identified together with Furet du Nord 100 of virtual categories, and we also identified together with them the business request or the business rules that match each of these categories. And each business rule will have their own Solar request. And then every night we populate each of those subcategories, so you don't have to do it manually. It's completely automated today. So it's given even further, and then Magento is really just displaying the information like a slave in this case. Very important for any company willing to have a lot of category levels, and when you have a lot of flexibility in your product. Of course, if your products are fixed, you do that once and it's over. But if you have a lot of continuously updates, that's something you need to automate. Okay, you have a nice search engine, but you want to make sure that you display the right results at the right place based on what you really want to push forward in terms of margin or in terms of sales strategy. And using Solar Engine, what we did together with Furet du Nord is to identify a special KPI called Furet Boost attribute, which is a kind of calculation, quite complex, that mix several factors, and depending on the result, it will get a specific place on the list, right? So there are 4 factors actually. Is this book still printed? Does it have an image, a visual? I mean, from the 1.5 million product, we don't have 1.5 million pictures, that's clear. So you want to make sure the one on top has a visual. Do you have it in stock? Always handy. And is it a new book or more or less new? And a combination of those 4 factors will calculate this Furet boost that will actually drive the way you present the results.
Okay.
Vincent.
So it's my turn. Could you switch microphone? Okay.
Je pense pas que les images, ça va marcher apparemment.
On va voir. Technology. Okay, just a few words about Prediggo. So we are a Swiss-based company. Our main mission is to basically increase conversion rate on existing traffic. So basically websites do search engine marketing, they do Google AdWords, get the traffic. What do you do when you have your users on your website? Then that's when they come to see us, because we have developed a set of tools based on the technology I'm just going to show you that's able to do some cross-marketing, such as recommendation system on the item page, things you will see on, and I have an example afterwards. But not only that, we have developed some tools only to have recommendations on the category page, checkout page, and so forth. We also have search engine, also a bit different from Solar, which is able to be taken from the back office. And we also have one-to-one marketing tools. So how do we do this? We have 3 different components that is very important. The first one is the user profiling. When a user comes on the website, we're going to build for each user its own profile. We're going to look what it's been clicking, where it's been searching, what it's been doing, and for each of these users we will have this profile. This profile then fed into our catalog modeling that we have defined, which is also patented. So basically here, instead of using a database or just a big tree, we have used what we call an ontology where we're basically able to, based on the semantic of the products, find the products which are similar together in terms of purchase behavior, in terms of description, and put that together. This is then fed, and the last piece, which is probably the most important, is the tools we provide for marketers of the website. Up to now, recommendation systems were big black box. You switch it on, you have recommendation at the bottom, which usually web-based customer also bought. You could basically not do anything with those. Now with Prediggo, we have developed a set of tools which allow you, for every single recommendation you see, every single slot, you can define what kind of strategy based on price, stock, whatever. It's all fully automatic and very easy to use. And this is an example that we have for Furet du Nord, as it's an example on Furet. Typically here you have a user that is looking for a book on horses. And here what we can do is define, say that the domain of interest of the user is really horses, and be able to show in real time recommendations on horses. And for this Furet du Nord, we have obviously here on this item page, but we also have recommendation on the checkout page, in order when the user has, especially to get free delivery, you need to reach a given minimum. And with the recommendations, you can show products which are in the range which they are missing, in order for them to say, hey, this is an item that you may be interested in. Because usually what we find is when you're interested about a topic, if you can propose them the right product about the topic, usually people buy 2 or 3 books, and therefore you can reach a free delivery, and this is another way to increase the shopping basket. And
thank you, Vincent. So what's interesting is we started in 2009, so now we have some feedbacks already. And did it bring something to add this new channel? Did Prediggo have some impact on the conversion rate? Or, those kind of question you might ask yourself. So first of all, everything that we discussed about took 6 months before really the start of the thinking of the project and the go live moment, including the 1 month for prototyping the search engine Solar. To give you some understanding of, and it was one of the very first big Magento project in the world. I mean, so everyone was really looking at it from a strange way. So we tested a lot because we wanted to make sure that when we will go live, then we will have taken the necessary steps before. But still, 6 months, quite quick. In terms of turnover for this web shop, in 2010 they reached in November more than €1 million. So let's say from January till November. So without the Christmas shopping, they were already above €1 million, which was above their expectation at the time. But as I was explaining at the beginning, their expectations were on both sides. Of course, being successful on the web shop, but even more, adding new traffic to their stores. And that's also where it's difficult to measure, of course, because you can measure how many orders have been picked up in the stores, but you don't know how many additional books they bought. But you can make some projection. If it's the same sale, then you can say, okay, it's thanks to the e-commerce channel. So right now they are estimating at more than €2 million extra on the stores, thanks to this new channel in 1 year, in 2010. And in terms of conversion rate, they also measured a very high conversion rate compared to the market, when you look at the market. And we believe that it's thanks to Prediggo and also the integrated payment solution, which gives additional confidence when you're entering the sales tunnel. And of course, this is not over. The website is still evolving. We are maintaining the website from a technical perspective, implementing new functionalities, adding new payment possibility, adding new way of delivering, etc., etc. And from their side, and I think it's also a key takeout, they are really investing their time to actively manage this web shop. They have one dedicated resource really administrating, from a business perspective, the web shop, administrating Prediggo rules, making sure the promotion of the right space, etc., etc., etc.